They say that family holidays are just parenting in another country, and for many parents, myself included, that rings painfully true. Between the packing, you should see my room right now. Packing, navigating airports with restless kids, ensuring everyone is fed and entertained and meltdown free as if. It is no wonder that many parents return feeling more exhausted than when they left. And of course, with Eid around the corner, families around the UAE are gearing up for travel. So how can we make it less stressful? Today, we're joined by Khevna from Familierge, who is a mum and entrepreneur who knows the struggle all too well. And she's turned her own challenges into a solution, here to share some real talk about the struggle and the burnout, and why us parents really need to take back our time. Khevna, thank you so much for being with us. Now, your business is born out of necessity, really, and your own kind of struggles and recognising that in others over the years. In a nutshell, what is it that you do? What's your personal mission?
Our mission simply is just to allow parents to reclaim that time. Time for us parents is the most valuable commodity. And if we can just provide even just a few hours a day, a few hours a week, just to have that time where you can simply be present with your children, that is our goal. And
so you're masterminding all sorts of things, organisation, planning, excursions. And this is for families coming into Dubai or travelling globally?
So families, primarily families that are coming into Dubai, also families that are relocating to Dubai, and also residents that are living here as well. And if you think about all the different segments, every single parent, depending on what situation that you're in, they all have different pain points and they all have different struggles. So we try and tap into that based on my own experiences and provide time-saving solutions.
Well, the number of messages I get on Instagram from people going, "Hi, we're coming to Dubai. Which hotel do you recommend? Hi, we're coming to Dubai. Our kids are, 2 and 6. Where should we go?" I'm like, I need to start writing this down. So I've got some, automatic responses to people because it's getting a bit tiresome. So I'm glad you're here. So let's start with the reality of family travel. Why do you think so many parents return from holidays feeling even more exhausted than before?
I think it's the parental guilt. We're always very conscious about creating memorable experiences with our children. And so we focus so much on creating that perfect holiday or that perfect time because we lead such busy lives and we don't have that time to be fully present. So we think, okay, we've got this family holiday coming up. We need to make sure it's as perfect as it can possibly be.
No pressure.
Exactly.
And also you add in the finances and going, this is something that we've saved for, we've planned for.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Expectations. And I think you put so much pressure on yourself and you spend so many hours researching and planning to make sure that everything's perfect, especially when you've got young children. You can imagine. You've been there, I've been there, when you've had to pack
so happy
so much.
The nappy days are over.
Exactly.
I'm so grateful.
The nappies, the bottles, the wipes, the sterilisers, even things like you don't think about travel steriliser. Where am I going to get that from? So these are things that, having been through that experience, I realise that parents are probably feeling the same thing.
I had a kind of a realisation a few years ago, which was, and exactly that, I am a firm believer that happiness exists in the gap between expectation and reality. And I try very hard to kind of keep expectations realistic when realistic. But I've kind of realised that you have these perfect moments. And sometimes it can be so fleeting. And overall, a holiday or a trip or a day out can be fantastic. It can be lovely. But there will be, a meltdown or a menu or something that isn't going to hit exactly what you'd hoped. But I think that there's a lot of power in recognising, this is the good bit. This is the moment. I remember we were in Slovenia a few years ago and we were staying on this campsite and there was a little stream just at the bottom of it. And to see the kids just like chucking rocks around and, splodging around. And I was just thought, this is it. The sunlight was just perfect. I felt relaxed. They were entertaining themselves. And I was like, this is like the crystal clear moment of today that was just perfect.
And you're each enjoying yourselves in your own moments. Yeah.
I think for many, though, it's this idea of, and I say it to my kids all the time, this is my holiday too.
Exactly.
And I think, and I do say it like that, I am like mean mummy, of them understanding that we're knackered. When we go on holiday, I want to be able to sit and read my book for half an hour. And I'm sorry if that makes me a neglectful parent, but and I've said this to the girls as well, there are two of you for a reason. Like play,
exactly.
go off,
Yep.
entertain each other.
Yep.
Because I want to read my book. And of course, I adore my children and I love playing with them. I love swimming with them. We're really silly and have a lot of fun with them. But I also really just want to relax a little bit. And a lot of parents find themselves just being go with others, wives, husbands, kids' needs put before themselves.
And
so,
I think also when you're back at home, you're not really used to spending all that time 24/7 around each other. You're either working, you're busy, the children are at school, then you go on holiday and then it's 24/7.
Sleeping in the same
room. And you've got all the other things, logistics and everything that you want to go according to plan. As a parent, it's testing.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. It's a phrase that hits differently, I think, when you're a parent trying to balance work and kids and somehow social life and self-care and friends and all the rest of it. But studies show that expat parents in the UAE spend more than 8 hours just planning family activities. And then you add in the holiday prep and the school runs and the meal planning. It is no surprise that burnout is on the rise. But what if there was a way to reclaim some of that time? Today we're joined by Khevna from Familierge, who is a working mum who understands that struggle firsthand. And she's here today to talk about why modern parents should treat family admin like work tasks. Some of the biggest stresses can indeed be outsourced. So tell us a little bit about how the business works. And I'm going to kind of give you a scenario, if that's okay. So as I said earlier, I have a lot of people who DM me on Instagram, but I also have a lot of friends who will say, we're in Dubai for a week. What are your top 5 things to do with kids who are, 8 and 10, say? And I just find myself going, I just can't be bothered to even tell you this information. How do you, if someone comes to you and says exactly that, we're in Dubai for a week, we've never been before, or indeed, you've got families that live here and say, we want to start exploring. How do you work with people and how do you know what to recommend?
I think the key is to fully get immersed in their family life and family lifestyle, to really understand what the parents' needs are, interests are, the children's interests, because what might be interesting and fun for your kids will be different for my kids. So whilst we may get recommendations for age 6 and 8, but is that going to be 100% right for your kids specifically?
And, I had a bit of a shock last year when I went on holiday with some friends and they were from the UK and their kids, sounds really judgy, their kids were terrible swimmers. So we were like, let's have a day at the water park. And they were like, well, actually, that's going to be really stressful for us because our kids aren't confident swimmers. Where I was like, God, I can just say to mine, come back in an hour. So it's interesting to get an understanding of abilities and interests as well. And budget as well, of course.
Exactly.
It's a trust thing as well. When you think about, especially when you've got younger kids, you're like, okay, I want to have a night out, but who is a babysitting service? Do you get requests like that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think here in Dubai, especially with childcare and generally family lifestyle, there's just so much choice. You're often met with decision fatigue. So here what we do is we make sure that we try and test and fully vet every single supplier. So I know that if I am not able to trust these suppliers or this childcare provider, for example, with my children, then I definitely will not recommend them to my clients.
Do you think parents feel guilty about outsourcing sometimes?
I think in Dubai, the mindset is shifting. Yeah. But I think in general, yes, we've always got that parental guilt, and we feel that as a parent, it's our duty to have to do X, Y, and Z. So if we outsource, then we're not doing a good enough job.
There's a bit of martyrdom in there as well, I think, for some people. I wanted to ask you, just because of obviously the Eid weekend coming up and the weather's being beautiful, where are you recommending right now? If a family was to come to say, we're going to be in Dubai for 2 weeks, do you feel like there's anywhere that is an absolute must-do or proper bucket list destination or activity right now?
I would say at the moment, make the use of the beautiful weather before it starts heating up, because there are days when it does already feel unbearable. So all of the outdoor activities, like even Dubai Safari, we went there last weekend, and it is honestly one of the most amazing experiences, even for young children. And I've got a very energetic 3-year-old. I would never trust him around animals, but just, even lemur feeding was amazing for him. And any kind of all the outdoor activities, like even Hatta and, Mushrif Park, and just enjoying the outdoors.
And that must be an interesting responsibility for you as well, in terms of working with families, to say, go to the shiny stuff, go and see the ski slope and all that. But there is another side to Dubai.
Exactly.
It must be really interesting to try and get to know a family and understand what they're going to get out of that experience.
And I think so many of them, they already know what the main kind of tourist hotspots are.
Yeah.
So they're looking to you to give the other side, the insights on the other side, and, you know, the things that they might have missed or they might not necessarily know about prior to coming here.
And a babysitter too.
And a
some
babysitter
clean
too.
laundry in your suitcase.
And at-home spa treatments when your baby's napping. Yeah, all of that.
I've had a number of people asking for your details, Khevna. So with your permission, if people want to send me the word help,
Yeah.
I'll just send the website for Familierge and people
Absolutely.
can get in touch with you, whether they are living in Dubai, they've got guests coming in and they don't want to have to do the planning for the family.
Yes, exactly.
Money well spent, I reckon. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
As we've been talking about, we know just how precious it is.